Well, it's that time of year again. The Classic's coming up. I'm not fishing it this year. I fished it 3 times, was able to win it in 2006. I know David's coming in to fish his 7th Classic, and Steven's going to be fishing his 8th down at the Red River. What are you guys' thoughts and feelings on it?
I'll be honest, it's one of those places that can either be really, really good or really, really bad. I don't think it's going to be one of those classics that it's going to be right in the middle. I think we're either going to have the worst conditions or the best conditions, and that's just typical river fishing that time of year in February.
Yeah, I agree that that's really the unknown there. It's not like a reservoir or a lake that you go to. The river, is subject to flooding or drought. You never know. So I think that's probably the biggest variable in going into this Classic.
Right, right. Now, have you guys been there much before, many times in the past?
Yeah, I've been there several times before, and it seems like it was always at different times of year, and the conditions have changed every time. So it's even though you're familiar with it, you're really not, because you fish different areas every time you go.
Yeah, and it's been, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years since I had visited. I spent just a couple of days down there prior to the cutoff, but it's a typical river, backwater mud holes, where it's wherever it's all going to take place, who lands in the right area. I don't think it's going to be a pattern, a specific pattern type deal. I think it's going to be more of a who lands in the area and holds everybody else off.
Right. Now, I've been there before. I know it's a little bit difficult to get around. Do you think that's a pretty big advantage, knowing the areas and how to get through them? I know the timber's a pain to idle through it. It's really time consuming just to get around to different backwaters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just navigating that river there. Yeah, one place I've knocked a lower unit off before on high water. You go right over a wing dam, don't even know it's there. So there's a lot to be said for just learning to navigate and getting back to the back end of the water to get out of the muddy river water. Or we've been there times before where you stayed right in the main river and fished. So we'll see when we get there what it's going to offer us.
Right.
And that's the thing also is it's going to be that week of weather that we have before the class is really about 2 weeks. It'll determine where those fish are going to be. If it rolls around, have a big range, that thing can turn red. It gets its name honestly, and if that happens, it'll probably throw a big kink in guys' game plans. But if it's normal, it ought to be pretty good.
So do you guys think the main river will be in play at all this time of year, or even if it's clear enough, or do you think it's going to be strictly a backwater deal and fish fairly small?
We don't know for sure, but I would guess that it's not, just because we're in a winter time, and normally the main river is going to be your coldest water, and those backwaters are warming up. That's where the fish are heading to spawn. So I would be surprised if the main river really is a factor in a winning stringer. Yeah, you might be able to find some places that fish are staging, but I think the winning stringers are going to be definitely come out of the backwaters.
I definitely, no doubt about it. I think Dave needs to be out there in the main river. That's exactly where he needs to be. Concentrate on the main river the whole time.
Yeah, Brownie needs to be Carolina rigging the center of the channel. I think would be a good place to start.
That's a good place to waste about 3 days of practice.
What's your guys' approach going to be? I know you'll probably stick strictly shallow.
I like fishing that way, and and it is a river, so I mean that's the obvious thing to start with, and the chatterbait is probably going to be a player there. I mean, it's a perfect situation for that type of bait. You've got a lot of wood cover, you've got some grass, and you're swimming that bait through that, and it should be a really good tool for me there.
Especially in dirty water, that chatterbait really excels.
Hopefully we'll be able to find a little bit of some of those clear water back ponds. You have to get way off the river channel. The zinkers, I've had a lot of success with it last year, and have a lot of confidence in it. And just Texas rigging it and pitching it and flipping it around the cover and even casting it. So that's probably will be one of the baits that I really key in on.
Now, do you throw it weightless most of the time, or do you
No,
throw it with a bullet weight in front of it?
Most of the time I throw it with the bullet weight, anywhere from a quarter up to about a 5/16, and just pitching and making not long casts, but kind of a medium cast just to get it away from the boat sometimes.
Right.
So
I got you. Carolina rigged that at all?
I have been known to Carolina rig.
Yeah.
I have been known.
Yeah.
I'm not scared, brother.
Steven likes that Carolina rig.
Exactly. Have you thrown the Carolina rig with it on there?
No, I haven't.
Have you thrown a Carolina rig lately?
It's been a long time since I've had the rig, rigged up in the boat. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think the new flapping craws we got coming out is going to be really cool. It's just because you can swim that bait, pitch it around, just fish it, Texas rigging. I'm sure that's going to be one of the baits I got tied on going into there.
Exactly.
Jig trailers. I mean, you can use them on jig trailers too. So it's a very versatile bait that there will be. I'll have a box full of them when we go down there, without a doubt.
There's something you don't normally see on the red or don't hear much about is swim baits. Do you think that'll be a factor at all there, or do you think it's going to be too early in the year or too dirty a water?
You know, you got a lot of it right there. It could very well be too dirty and a little too cold for that. But you know, swim baits, even like in places like Florida and all, you know, they've really shown that they work there. It's not just a West Coast thing. They work all over now with the new Alabama rigs out there. You know, it just shows the magic of the big rubber fish. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I really think like the new grass kickers that if we find, you know, we've had some unseasonably warm weather there right now. So I mean, the water temperature could be up in the mid-60s when we get there. But that's just you know, that's one of those situations that you would definitely think that bait would play a big role in the outcome.
Yeah, I think like swim baits, we talk about them not working there in the past, but every time you go to a lake, something doesn't work, you end up trying to figure things out. Well, you don't expect to happen happens.
Sure.
You know, that paddlers is probably one of my favorite swim baits, and something like that's a subtle little bait. You know, in the spring the water's cold, it might surprise somebody and catch a lot of fish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's that, you know, it's that water, you know, lily pad stems, probably a little bit of a, you know, milfoil, hydrilla, things like that. That's in that system that the paddlers would definitely, you know, play a role if that water temperature hits that magic number.
Yep. Yeah, the water temperature needs to be up, and you need that little bit clearer water. You know, the dirtier water, the chatterbait's probably better, but if that water gets too clear for it, yeah, definitely go to that grass kicker.
Right, right. What do you think for a trailer on the chatterbait? What's going to be your choice there?
Well, and that's the cool thing about a chatterbait. You can put anything behind it if you want to increase the profile of it or decrease it. So, I mean, I've used everything from what the little bait that comes with it, the little eel that's on there, to the grass kicker on the back of it. You know, it's just up to you to decide how big a profile you want.
Right, right. Back to the zinkers you were talking about. I guess, you know, a lot of people, including myself, are fairly new to Elastec. I've probably only used it for 3 or 4 years now. But hooking and rigging is a little bit different with it just because of the plastic's so much different. What kind of hook do you rig the
I throw a trocar hook on mine 90% of the time. I just the little keeper on it, the EYG trocar hook has a little keeper on it, and it allows that nose of the bait to stay up on the eye of the hook where it's not sliding down. And then, you know, when you set the hook, you don't want it to ball up. So it's key to have, you know, to have the right hooks, and that trocar has worked for me really well this past year.
And the keeper on that's pretty important to you, just to hold that plastic
absolutely
up.
Absolutely, because it you know, there are, you know, a straight shank hook, if it doesn't have the right barbs on it, you know, that it has a tendency to slide down. So I like something with either have good barbs on the upper shank of the hook, or some type of little keeper on it.
Well, me and Stephen and David are signing off from the world famous Tiki Bar at Lake Okeechobee. Follow Stephen and David on the Z-Man site or their Facebook pages. We'll catch you next time.